Welcome to BODHI Yoga Online. I'm Krista Cahill. This morning we're going to do 90 minutes vinyasa flow. This is Chris, and he's going to be doing the demonstration of the poses for me. So I invite you to come to your yoga mat. You're going to sit how Chris is sitting on his yoga mat, but in the center. And you're just going to observe the way that you've crossed your legs. And let's just switch the cross of your legs so it's already feeling unusual and uncomfortable. And then just for a few moments, relax your shoulders, bring your hands into a comfortable position, close your eyes. Take a moment to bring your hips into a position where you feel you're balancing on the right and left sitting bone evenly. Notice how the hip of the leg that's crossed in the front, right, is going to feel different than the hip of the leg that's crossed in the back. And this is sort of the slight twisting of the spine that happens when we cross our legs. And then you're going to let the sitting bones, the hips, release as evenly as you can down into the earth, and equally to the downward force, begin to draw the sides of the lumbar all the way up until you feel the energy reach that final vertebra between your ears. And just notice how it's a pure downward force of energy that causes the upward reaction of length in the spine. You can keep your shoulders relaxed. They don't need to lift. And then take a big inhale, feeling the sides of your ribs expand. Open your mouth and exhale completely. Open your eyes, and with your next inhale, you're going to stretch your arms parallel to the floor like an airplane. And you're going to tune in again to just that breathing in the sides of the ribs. So start each breath as low as you can imagine in the sides of your ribs, and think of moving your ribs out sideways towards the arms. And as your breath begins to grow and build in terms of length and amount, you're going to bring the breath higher towards the middle of your ribs, and then eventually all the way up where you feel your breath starting to spread your chest and shoulders apart. Last 3 here. And keeping your weight as evenly as you can, so your left sitting bone is going to remain as heavy as it possibly can. You're going to begin to reach towards the right with the right arm. So your spine is going to start to move into what's called a lateral flexion. And just don't go down, just reach sideways. Yeah, there you go. So you're feeling the left obliques engaged. Reach as far as you can without letting the left hip lift up, and then bring your fingertips down when you can't go any further to the right side. Rotate your left arm into external rotation and bring the arm all the way up and overhead. So you'll notice the right shoulder can really relax down your back. Very good. The left side of the body is still hugging in, so the left side ribs are disappearing into the midsection of the body, and you're pushing that breath towards the right hand, so you're moving out with your right fingertips into the mat. Last 3. If you get to a place where you feel really comfortable, you can turn your navel, your belly, your sternum towards the left side of your yoga mat. And then you're going to change your gazing down towards your right hand. Make sure the shoulder on the right side is relaxing down. Reach in the opposite direction with your left arm. Stretch as far as you can. And now use your obliques to come all the way up. Okay. And now you're going to bring your left hand to your right knee, turning your navel towards the right. And you're going to internally rotate your right shoulder, bringing your right arm behind to your left waist. And again, just notice the weight on your 2 sitting bones even, and your inhales help you to grow tall. As you exhale, you'll find the rotation in your spine. So we're rotating the left shoulder towards the right knee. And last 2 breaths. Now change your gaze, look towards the left knee. Feel still the right shoulder relax down, and then slowly unwind. And we're going to change up the cross of the legs. Bring it back to your normal habitual crossing. And just try to imagine there's an even amount of weight, right and left hip. The amount that your hips go down evenly brings an even upward movement in your spine. As your spine gets a little more active, the shoulders can become more passive. So we want to release any amount of tension in the shoulders and neck and allow instead the spine to do the climbing, the lengthening. Okay, once you feel you have that, take your arms out parallel. Spread your breath into the very lowest of your side lateral rib cage, and then begin to build in a sequence with each breath up a little higher. When you start to move the breath up all the way towards the base of the neck, you're going to feel your inhales pushing your inner shoulders and your inner chest muscles out into your arms. That's it. And keep the crown of the head reaching away from your hips. And now you're going to maintain as much weight on your right hip as you can and reach straight out towards the left side. So don't think down, really think, I'm just going to go way out towards the left side. Okay. The right obliques are going to start this process of stabilizing and engaging. Keep the right obliques engaged, let the left fingertips gently come down. Rotate your right shoulder externally. Keeping the right obliques engaged, take the right arm overhead. You'll notice that the left shoulder can stay relaxed, exactly. Keeping the left shoulder relaxed and the right obliques engaged, you're moving the spine on a diagonal towards the left, away from the right hip, grounding down. Good. That's it. And then when you're ready, even as you keep this elongation, you might start to rotate your navel, your belly, your chest towards the right. Very good. Last two, try to keep external rotation. That's it. One more. Change your gaze towards the left hand. Relax the left shoulder a little bit more. Reach with your right arm and use your right obliques to pull you up out of this shape. And now turn your navel towards the left knee. Internally rotate your left arm around behind your back and your right hand to your left knee. So now we move into rotation. So rotation happens because of elongation. The more you can go up with each vertebra, the more on the exhale, the vertebra will have the space to rotate around the axis. Breathing is the best way to create inner space. The diaphragm moving down helps the spine to rise up out of the hips. Last breath here. Change your gaze towards the right knee. Left shoulder stays very relaxed. And now slowly unwind. Very good. You can take your legs out of the cross position. Allow your legs a moment to breathe. And then we're going to come around to the hands and knees. Okay, so today we are going to do a little bit of a side bend here on the hands and knees. So what you're going to do is you're just going to see how close you can bring your right shoulder towards your right hip. There you go. So keep your arms straight, but just the movement in the spine. Yeah, there you go. So when the right side of the body is contracted, the left side of the body is stretching. And then you're going to do the other side. You're going to bring your left outer hip and shoulder as close together as you can. So the engagement on the left side opens the opposite right side. And now you're just going to do back and forth. You're going to do right shoulder, right hip, and then you're going to do left shoulder, left hip. Yeah. And you're just going to feel the difference as one side contracts, the other side is going to start to gain a little bit more space and mobility. And maybe in your body you start to feel that one side is able to engage more and the other side gets a better stretch. Versus maybe you feel in the opposite side you don't have as much stretching and engaging. Now you're going to go back to the right side where your right hip and your right shoulder are coming together. And I want you to keep this very nice engagement in the right side of the waist, but can you also drop your left shoulder down away from your ear? So you feel it's not just the shoulder stretching the left side of the body. The shoulder is passive and it's actually the left side of your spine that gets the stretch. And then go to the left side when you're ready, engaging the left waist. And then try to relax the right shoulder and notice if the majority of the stretch was happening because your shoulder lifted by your ear, or can you move in the spine instead of just moving in the shoulder? And now try to find neutral. So in a way, without the shoulders lifting by your ears, you're going to be able to really feel the two sides of the spine, hopefully in a more even place. Okay, and now you're going to sit back on your heels in child's pose. Yeah, and you can relax the arms for a couple breaths and just feel. If you continue with this breathing into the sides of the ribs, so we call this diaphragmatic breathing, you might already be aware that one side breathes out a little wider than the other. See if you can make it even here. And now you're going to take your arms overhead and stretch. And then you're going to walk your hands over towards the right. So moving again into this lateral flexion. As you inhale, you're going to breathe more into the left side of your waist. So that little portion between where the left hip and bottom rib cage is. See how much you can move that towards the left. Yeah, just keeping the shoulders as passively relaxed as possible, really working here with the mobility of the spine. And then you're going to go to the opposite side, bringing your hands over towards the left, and feeling now that you're going to change the way you breathe more into the right side. And then you're going to reach your arms straight forward. Elongate now with both sides of your waist as evenly as you can, feeling the weight of your two hips anchored to your heels and the spine lifting up and coming over the legs towards your hands evenly. Last couple breaths, child's pose. Now start to actively press your hands down, lift your inner shoulders and gaze up. Curl your toes under and you're going to come into downward facing dog when you're ready. Please feel free to keep your knees very bent, or you can pedal out your legs, trying just one leg straight and then the other. And just notice when you bend one knee and straighten the leg, there will be that same little sideways movement in your spine. See if you can tune into that. And then you're going to be here for 2 more breaths. So find a position where you can raise the sides of your pelvis up and back as you elongate your spine forward towards your fingers. Last inhale. Continue with moving your hips backwards. Look to the front of the mat and now walk your feet forward until you reach your hands. Separate your feet a little bit apart. There you go. And then as you exhale, you're just going to drop forward into Uttanasana. Again, feel free to bend your knees. And just working here, a couple big breaths. And then when you're ready, inhale, elongate your spine. Bring your hands up to your side hips. Pin the elbows into a parallel and come forward and up with your spine to standing. You can keep your feet apart or slide your feet together as you prefer, Samastitihi. Bring yourself into the position where you're ready to bring the breath and movement together. So we'll start with some half or Ardha Surya Namaskara. Externally rotate your shoulders completely, and on the inhale, reach your arms up, engaging your spine. As you exhale, bend the knees, stretch the spine, and release down into Uttanasana, relaxing the neck at the bottom. Inhale, come halfway up. You're going back into Uttanasana, so make a long spine as you release down. Open your arms if you have the room, rotate externally the shoulders and reach up. Samastitihi, hands release. 2 more like this. Inhale, Ardha Surya Namaskar. Exhale, hands to the earth, long spine. Inhale, engage the spine, look forward. Exhale, release the crown down. Open the arms with external rotation, come all the way up. Exhale, Samastitihi. Last one like this. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, all the breath out as you fold. Inhale, create length. Longer fold as you exhale. Open the arms, external with the shoulders as you reach up. Exhale, hands down. So we're going to add a lunge to this Ardha Surya Namaskar. Inhale, arms up. All the breath out as you exhale, hands down. Inhale, elongate. And now you're going to step long with your left leg behind you into a lunge position. Good. Now, keep your back left heel rooted back as much as you can. And now you're going to walk your fingertips as far forward as possible. So you're really stretching out here the spine. And to the very best of your ability, see if you can try to resist shortening the right side of your body. So you could even maybe walk both hands to the left a little bit towards the upper left corner of your mat. And then as you do that, resist the right upper thigh towards your left heel. That's it, good. And breathe there for 3, 2, and 1. Now walk the hands back. You're going to set your hands either side of your front leg. Press into your hands, lift your inner shoulders, keeping the forearms drawing up out of your wrists, step fully into plank position. Okay. Draw up the inner arms so the inner shoulders feel as though they're lifting into your upper back between your shoulder blades. Last 3, 2, even as the thighs lift to the ceiling, the sacrum reaches towards the heels, and downward facing dog on an exhalation, move all the way back. Okay, now you're going to lift your right leg up, open your hip if you want to stack, bend your knee, and again take a couple breaths. So just notice if the left side of your waist is having the tendency of being shorter because your hip and shoulder blade have come together. So apply just a little bit of that oblique engagement on the right side of the body so you maintain equanimity. There you go, that's it. Last 2. And now extend the leg all the way back behind you. You're going to come into plank with your right foot hovering up off the ground. Okay, now you're going to turn your right toes towards the right. You're going to bend your right knee and you're going to touch your shoulder on the right side with your right knee. And you're going to do your very best not to shorten the right side of your waist. Last 3, good. The left shoulder blade away from the ear. 2. And now bring the knee to the center chest and step your foot all the way through. Lower your back knee down, point your toes, and come up with your arms into this low lunge, Anjane. And take a couple breaths here. So if you could feel the 2 sides of your waist really lifting evenly, meaning the right side tends to be sometimes a little bit shorter. So what we want to try to do is release the right hip slightly down and underneath you. Okay, do that without letting the knee move towards the baby toe. So keeping the knee centered with your right foot. Last 2. And then both sides of the spine, sides of the waist, pushing your arms up. Last inhale. Exhale, fingertips either side of your front foot. Back toes tuck under, step to the front of the mat as you inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, crown of the head down, Uttanasana. External rotation in the arms. Inhale, reach. Samastitihi, exhaling, hands at your heart. Inhale, arms reach up, second side. Exhale, hands down, Uttanasana. Inhale, full elongation. Now, your two sides of your spine are even here. Maintain that. Lift your right leg up and back behind you and lunge way back. Good. Once you've anchored that right heel to the imaginary back wall behind you, start to walk your hands forward away from it. So you're stretching your body out over the front of your mat. And then see if you can keep as much evenness in the two sides of your body as possible as you start to walk your hands towards the right slightly. Okay, feel that as you do that, your left upper thigh is pulling back and your knee is able to stay in position as you move at the root of the hip. Last 3, good. 2, and now position your hands on either side of your front foot. Press your hands down, lift your elbows, inner arms, shoulders up, and step into the top of a push-up. So see if you can connect all the knuckles, starting with the thumb knuckle, index, middle, ring, pinky. All the fingers stretch forward in one direction, the palm of the hand pulls back in the opposite. Use the entire circumference of your hand to push the floor away, and downward facing dog as you exhale. And then when you're ready, we're going to take that hip stretch, left leg up. If you want, you can open, bend, and just do your best to observe if the hip on the right side comes towards the right shoulder. Can you maintain a little bit of resistance to that side bend? Last breath in. And now you're going to extend the left leg back behind you. Keep the leg hovering. You're coming back into plank position. Now, keep your leg as it is. Just turn your toes towards the left and bring your knee to your left shoulder. See if you can maintain, without the right shoulder coming up by your ear, evenness in the side waist. Last breath. Knee to chest as you exhale, step your foot all the way up. Lower your right knee down. Anjaneyasana, point your toes, bring your arms up overhead. So do your best to keep some feeling of the right side of the body hugging in. The left top thigh is not only releasing down, but it's squeezing gently in underneath your body. Use that firming of the outer hip coupled with the knee being over the center of your foot. Last breath in. Exhale the fingertips down. Back toes tuck as you inhale, step forward, elongate. Exhale, crown of the head down. Open the arms, external rotation as you inhale all the way. Hands release as you exhale. Okay, Surya Namaskara A. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, both hands down. Inhale, fully elongated. Exhale, plank, and then chaturanga. Either you step or jump, your choice. Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, back, downward facing dog. And now separate your feet a little bit apart, wider than your hips. And you're going to just lift your heels into a very high releve position. And try to do that while keeping your hips back. So push your hips back. There you go. Now keep your hips back and turn your heels to the right. Okay, and press your feet, especially the inside of the right foot, towards the ground as much as you can. That's it. Good. And now see if you can mitigate some of that sideways bend. Yeah, that's it. Last 2. Good job. Inhale, bring your heels up. And then hips stay back as your heels turn left. Toes to the right. And then press your inner left foot as much as you can. Very good. Getting that outer ankle to engage. And then see if you can lengthen the left side of your waist slightly. Very good. Last 2. And then inhale, heels up. Stretch your hips and heels back and release your heels down. Look forward, bend your knees and either jump, walk, or step your feet. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, descend Uttanasana. Externally rotate, reach, big inhale. Samastitihi, exhale. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands down, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha. Floater step, exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, urdhva or cobra. Exhale, adho mukha. Okay, separate your feet. Take your left hand and hold the outside of your right ankle or shin if you can't hold the ankle. And breathe. See if you can very, very subtly pull the left hip around behind you towards the right hip. There you go. And breathe for 3. Very good. 2. And look up. Change hands. Right hand to left ankle or shin when you're ready. And just very subtly mitigating the right hip as it wants to slowly go towards the right shoulder. Keep pulling it back and around. Last 3. Good job. 2. 1. Release your hands so they're evenly placed on the mat. Feel your hips go way back as you bend your knees and either walk, step, or hop. Feet to the top. Exhale, head down. Uttanasana. Inhale, external rotation as you come all the way up. Exhale, hands down. Last time. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, shift the weight forward. Exhale, floater step, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or urdhva. Exhale, adho mukha. Okay, and take a couple breaths here. Just a normal version of down dog. You can feel the 2 hips being pulled back evenly, the 2 sides of the spine moving forward evenly. Last 3. 2. 1. Lift your gaze, bend your knees, either jump or step. Top of the mat. Exhale, head down. Inhale, rotate the arms, come all the way up. And as you exhale, release your arms. Tadasana for a few breaths. Close your eyes and take a few moments to observe, okay, to become grounded again. So observe if especially you get euphoric in this breathing, moving practice, because it is an amazing experience to reach those higher states of energy. But remember, it's equally as important to remain grounded, to bring your awareness and your attention back down to the earth where your feet have connected. And to press 4 corners of the feet evenly down. Okay? And to allow that to generate the upward movement. You're not manufacturing it in the shoulders. Now open your arms. Little bit, there you go. And you're gonna inhale, reach all the way up towards the ceiling. Okay, now you're gonna hold your right wrist with your left hand. And turn your thumb to the other side. Yeah, there you go, Chris. And now as you inhale, you're gonna go up. So you're gonna start to lift your right arm with the strength of your left arm. And now you're gonna start to slightly sideways bend towards the left. And feel how you're going to move more weight into the left foot, and the right foot is going to become a little bit lighter on the ground. Last 3, 2, come back up to the vertical position, reach your right arm a little bit higher, and now just release and notice if the right arm is a little taller than the left arm. And now you're going to change. You're going to hold your left wrist with your right. You're going to inhale first, go up for space. And then as you exhale, take it into that lateral flexion to the right. Notice that the weight is going to shift into the right foot. So the left foot is going to become a little lighter. Keep moving your left hip slightly forward. Last 2. There you go. Bring the weight even into your feet. Reach both arms, both sides of the spine up a little bigger. Maybe your hands touch and you look up. Open the arms as you exhale. Fold all the way down to the earth. Inhale, lift halfway. Float it or step it as you exhale. Chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or urdhva. Exhale, adho mukha. Inhale, lift your right leg up and back. As you exhale, you're going to bring your knee to your chest and come into a plank position. Now stay with your shoulders even, so the right shoulder won't go towards the right ear, and you're going to bring your right knee across to the left tricep. Yes, without letting that right shoulder go towards the ear. Last 3, 2, and now three-legged dog. Slowly you can open up your right hip again as we did before. Bend the knee and give it a little stretch, stretch. Now look up, bring your knee to your chest and step your foot forward between your hands. Okay, so now we're gonna set the back foot at a 45-degree angle. It doesn't have to be heel to heel, but as close as you can. Good. And now you're going to use that feeling, okay, of not letting the right hip come up towards the right shoulder as much. So this means that the left side, the obliques on the left side, they have to engage a little bit to mitigate any shortening there on the right side. And keep the back heel, four corners, just like Tadasana, pressing down. The knee is going to stay in line with the center of your foot, and you're going to move the left upper hip around towards the front right heel as much as possible. Okay. Continue feeling the top of the right leg draw underneath your body, just like that. Now you can stay with your fingertips on the ground. A little bit of a more challenging option is to reach your arms back by your hips towards your left heel. And then an even more challenging option, take the arms forward. And we're going to be here for 4 more breaths. So open between your inner upper shoulders, stretch the sides of your waist even away from your hips. Last 2. Come upright just for this last breath. Inhale, maybe you look up, touch. Exhale, both hands down. You step your body into a plank. Okay, and lower with control. Inhale, up dog cobra. Exhale, downward facing. Good. And then when you're ready, you're going to inhale and lift your left leg up and back. As you exhale, you're going to bring your knee to your chest, shoulders above the wrists. So try not to let the shoulder go up by the ear. You're going to bring your knee across towards the right tricep and hold. That's it. So the 2 shoulders are even here. Last 3, 2, and now we're going into the hip stretch. So lift your left leg up, keep opening the hip, bend the knee, stretchy stretch. And look up, bring your knee to your chest, and when you're ready, plant your foot between your hands. Back heel is going to set up on a 45-degree angle. Okay, it doesn't have to be heel to heel. It can be a little wider to give you room in your hips if you need it. Okay, and just notice how inherently now the left side of the waist is going to be a little bit more congested and shorter. So there's a few different ways that you can go about remedying this. One is that you can absorb the right side of the ribs in a bit. The other is that you can take the top part of your left hip underneath you. Yeah, you feel the difference with that? Huge difference. And it's about that back foot, the anchor of the back foot, the stability of the back leg, and then just mobilizing only the right hip coming around towards your left heel. See if you can keep that and the right obliques. Take the arms back or forward. 5 breaths. So how we breathe is also going to influence. So try to breathe more into the left side of the waist. Keep the right side of your waist hugging in. Last 2. Last inhale, you're going to come up into the vertical position. Lift your spine up. Look up if you can. Exhale, both hands down. You can take it to plank or chaturanga, maybe down dog directly if you need it. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale for a couple breaths in downward facing dog. Okay, and just take your time. Evenly pressing your 2 hands into the ground, evenly lifting your forearms, wrists. Last breath, stretching all the way back. Keep moving the hips back when you're ready. Bend your knees and march it or jump it. Elongate. Exhale, crown of the head down. Okay, and now you're going to come into chair pose with your legs. So move your hips as far back and down as you can, and then reach the arms up. And we're going to be here for 5 breaths. Okay, so as your 2 heels press evenly down, see if you can start to lower your thighs. If you get to parallel, then you turn your sitting bones towards your heels, and now stand all the way up. Reach for the ceiling, go a little bigger, and then exhale, hands down. Okay, again, chair pose, hips back and down as the arms reach. 1 breath, inhale. Exhale, hands down, Uttanasana. Inhale, elongate. Exhale, march it or jump it back. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, down dog. Same exhale, step your right foot, turn your left heel, come up, Virabhadrasana. Exhale, hands down, down dog or chaturanga, your choice. Inhale, cobra or urdhva. Exhale, adho. Same exhale, take your left foot forward. Turn your right heel, come up one breath. Exhale, vinyasa. With your breath, you can go to down dog if vinyasa is too much. Inhale. And resting in down dog for a few moments. So observe your breathing, the two sides of the body opening laterally, evenly with each inhale. See if you can stretch just a little further back. Bend your knees. Look where you want to land and march it or jump it up, top of the mat. Exhale, crown of the head down. Sitting into a deep chair pose, Utkatasana. And bringing your sitting bones towards your heels as you stand up. And release Samastitihi. Last time with the breath. Bend the knees. Inhale. Uttanasana. Exhale. Inhale, Ardha. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva. Exhale, Adho Mukha. Same exhale, right foot forward. Turn the left heel. Inhale, come up. Exhale as you transition Vinyasa. Inhale. Exhale, same exhale, the left foot steps. Right heel turns. Inhale. Exhale, Vinyasa, down dog or chaturanga. Inhale, and downward facing dog. Taking a few moments, observe recovery breathing. So as much as you can feel the legs pushing the pelvis up towards the ceiling, use the arms to move it back. So it is going up and further back. Each breath, last two. Lift and draw the pelvis back, bend your knees, jump or step. Big breath in, exhale, head down. Chair pose, one inhale. Tadasana, exhale, Samastitihi. Close your eyes and take a few moments, observe your breathing. So with this simple static posture, ground your feet all the way down past the yoga mat. And let that source energy move up through the central channel. So that it's not about manufacturing a muscular tension, but this is just energetic animation coming up through your center spine, through between that space between your ears. And against all of that upward lift, the shoulders and the arms are heavily relaxing down. Last two breaths. Now you're going to open your eyes, take your arms out parallel, and you're going to do external rotation, moving a little bit more space into your upper back between the shoulder blades. Okay, now you're going to take your right arm and cross it over your left arm in eagle, Garudasana. If you don't have the second bind with your hands, it's okay. Do your best. Now, do as much as you can to move the shoulder blades away from the spine, and then see if you can use that now to lift your elbows up a little bit higher. Okay, keep that on an inhale, and as you exhale, you're going to reach your hips back and down into chair pose. And now, lift your left leg up. Cross your knee on top of your right leg, and maybe you can bring your foot around. It's okay if you can't. Think of your hips as if you were sliding down a wall, and your sitting bones, once your thighs get to parallel, your sitting bones come underneath you, and that right leg does what it did in Warrior One. It comes underneath your body, so the right waist, lengthens, and the left waist engages. Last three, good job. Two. Now you're going to reach your arms up, stay with your legs. Unwind, reach your right leg back behind you, Warrior Three. Stretch, and you're going to bend your right knee, slowly step your left foot into crescent pose. High lunge, inhale, reach your arms up. Okay, see if you can bring that right hip underneath your body as you bring your hands to your heart in prayer. And now you're going to twist your left elbow or shoulder to the outside of your knee and take a couple breaths here. Hugging the left side of the body in, Imagine I put like a little Bic lighter on the left side of your ribs, and in order to get away from the flame, you had to hug and make those ribs disappear into the body. That's it. Last 3. Very good. As the right hip hugs in underneath your body, 2, and release your hands down to the ground. So now maybe you can do this on your fingertips. I'm going to say almost everybody, if you have blocks or something you can use as a supplement to blocks, come up onto your fingertips. Bring your back foot a little bit closer, maybe 2 or 3 inches, and you're going to do what you did in Warrior 1, turn on a 45-degree angle. Of course, this doesn't have to be heel to heel. You can have a few centimeters between your heels, if that helps you. And now push into your back leg, your back heel. And without letting your back leg change, just rotate the top of your left hip around the thigh bone until it comes around towards your right foot. Again, that outside part of your right leg is hugging in underneath you. Good. Now see if you can elongate the spine evenly forward out of the hips. Very good. And now you're going to take your left arm forward like Warrior 3 alongside your left ear. And take your right arm back towards your right hip. And keep hugging the left side of your body in. And now bring your left hand down to where the right hand was. And now you're going to turn and stack your right shoulder above your left shoulder. And now you can reach the arm up all the way. Externally rotate that top arm, and now reach the top arm out over your head. Very good. Feel that the left shoulder relaxes down away from your ear, and you're going to feel the bottom left ribs literally come up into your body so much that they then turn your navel, belly, sternum. Last 3. Last 2. The right arm, right hip stretch away from each other, and then slowly release the right hand down. Left hand comes back to its own block. Inhale, elongate. Now, as you come forward, so I'm not going to say come down into the stretch because I don't want your spine to go down. I want your spine to move forward, and then maybe a little bit you bring your abdominals towards your top right thigh. Last 3. 2. And 1. Inhale, up to your fingertips, turn onto your left toes, and step your left foot to join your right foot. You can just set the blocks off to the side unless you need them here for Uttanasana, and take a couple breaths forward. And then when you're ready, open your arms, external rotation, come all the way, reaching up, and exhale, arms down, release to Samastitihi. Okay, take your arms out parallel like an airplane, like we did before. Open your inner shoulders wide and externally rotate your arms. This time it's the left arm above right arm, and you're going to cross your arms into Garudasana, eagle pose. Okay, see if you can give the inner part of your upper shoulder blades, so the ones closest to your neck, those are the hardest to separate, and protract and open those upper inner shoulder blades out. Lift the elbows as high as your body will allow you to. And as the elbows go up, start to bend your knees, move your hips back and down into chair pose. Okay, now you're going to lift up your right foot, cross your knee above your left. Imagine that your sacrum, so that's the part at the top of your pelvis, releasing down a wall, as if you could slide down a wall as your elbows go up. And then try to do your best not to let the left side waist become shorter. So the left hip has to hug in underneath your body. Yes, the right obliques have to hug in towards the midline. Last 2. Just the arms are going to liberate vertical as you inhale. Uncross your legs and slowly reach back as you exhale. Bend your left knee and come into a high lunge. Okay, once you feel stable in your feet, draw the left hip in underneath you. And as you exhale, you're going to bring your hands together at your heart, twisting your shoulder or elbow to the outside of your left knee. So it's this collected energy at your right waist. So you're hugging the right ribs in. Very good. And at the same time, you're bringing your left hip underneath you. And this action is going to give you a feeling, instead of twisting the hips, that you're twisting your spine. Last 3. 2. Unwind slowly. Maybe you're going to grab your blocks. I think almost everybody needs blocks. A lot of us do. You're going to bring your back foot in a couple inches. Turn like you did warrior 1, so your heel is at a 45-degree angle. Okay, use your blocks and your fingertips to elongate away from your right foot. So your right leg, imagine it as your anchor. Okay, and as your leg stays in this very strong stability, you're just bringing your right hip around towards your left foot. Keep all of that feeling of stability pressing into that back heel, and you're going to reach your right arm forward like warrior 3 by your ear. The left arm is going to go back by your left hip. So yeah, there you go. Take a big inhale. And now as you exhale, bring your right hand across. Okay, turn your left shoulder above your right, and then you're going to reach your left arm up, externally rotate, and then stretch the arm overhead. Very good. So as the left hip comes in underneath you, as the right obliques engage, you're using those 2 stable points to turn on your axis. That's it. Last 3. Good job. 2 and 1. Release. Left hand down, right hand down. Elongate away from that back right heel. And then see if you can maintain the forward energy as you start to bring your abdomen towards your left thigh. 1 more. And then when you're ready, you're going to turn onto your back toes, step your right foot to the top, elongate, inhale, and exhale, head down. You can move the blocks off to the side. And then when you're ready, inhale, come all the way up, both arms reach overhead, and exhale, hands to your heart. Good, chair pose, hips back and down as you inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, hands down, Uttanasana. Inhale, elongate. Vinyasa, exhale, march or jump. Inhale, Cobra or Urdhva. Exhale, Adho Mukha. Okay, take a couple breaths here in downward facing. Good, now you're gonna lift your right leg up and back. Okay, you're gonna look up and you're gonna bring your right foot on the outside of your right hand, so near the pinky finger. Yeah, good. And so your hands are already naturally on the inside. Okay, take a couple breaths here. Okay, and now we're going to work towards either coming with your elbows on the ground or elbows on blocks. So you can always move a little prop underneath your elbows and come down. And just to the best of your ability, feel the outside part of the right hip move in underneath you. Okay? And then you're using that to help you scoot the spine forward so the shoulders can be relaxed as the spine is active. Last 3, 2. Okay, you can bring the back knee down, point the toes, and we're going to take a little lower version of this. So maybe your right hip is actually able to go a little bit closer to the yoga mat. And breathe. And now you're going to keep the back leg as it is. Walk your hands in. You can remove the blocks if you were using blocks. Now you're going to pick up your back leg and you're going to lift it and turn it towards the right edge of the mat. So now your left foot is going to be behind you on the right side of the mat. So you're going to, nope, keep your knee down. Yep. Exactly, just like that. So maybe move your knee back to where it was before. Yeah, there you go. Point your toes. Okay. And now notice if, again, if you have like a little C shape in your spine. So we want to try to maintain this feeling of the right hip still moving underneath you. Good. Okay, now you're going to take your left arm and reach it towards the back of your mat. And you're going to now use this to come up into warrior 2 shape with your arms and torso. Yeah, and bend that front leg as much as you can. Yeah. So you're feeling as the right hip comes slightly underneath you. Yeah, this gives you the feeling of being able to lift up. So it's like you have something more stable to jump your spine up off of. Now rotate your right arm into an external rotation, and you're going to reach your right arm vertical towards the ceiling, and you're going to reach your left hand towards your left knee. And now you're going to take a big inhale, keep the right hip down, and as you exhale, you're going to reach towards the back of the mat. That's it, good. And breathe here for 3. That's it. 2. And now use the obliques on the right side to bring you up. Bring your right hand to the inside of your right heel. Turn your belly, turn your sternum, turn your chest towards the ceiling. Externally rotate your left shoulder and reach your arm out over your head. Breathe here. So as much as the right hip can come in underneath you, maybe you can lean and roll your spine back over your right thigh. Last 2. Very good. And release. Bring your right hand down inside your right leg. You're going to straighten out your back leg, so it's just like how we were before in the lizard pose. There you go. Good. And now you're going to take your right shoulder and you're going to try to tuck it underneath your right knee behind. There you go. Good. Now, if you can, with your right hand on the outside of your right foot, keep your elbows slightly moving in towards the midline so they won't go much wider than your wrists. The left shoulder is not going to go up by your left ear. You're bringing both shoulder blades down away from your ears. And now you're going to curl your back toes under, and you're going to try to lift your back leg up. And maybe you'll be able to start to lift your right toes off the ground a little bit. Eventually, you can bend your elbows and come into like a chaturanga shape. And then step your left leg back and reach your right leg all the way up and back. And we're going to do that 3-legged dog stretch. Good. Take a big inhale. As you exhale, you're going to come into a plank position. See if you can keep the right foot hovering. Take an inhale. Lower with control with your right foot hovering. Push back up, plank pose. And downward facing dog. You can drop the foot and take a couple breaths here. Good job. Inhale, you're going to keep your heels and hips reaching back as you come into a plank. And so here, you're basically staying with the arms of plank, but you're going to move the hips into upward dog, keeping your heels reaching back, your sacrum releasing away from your lumbar. And we're going to hold here for 3. And you're feeling the spine jump up through the shoulders too. The ears go back in line with the shoulders without lifting the chin. Last inhale. And use your abdominals, downward facing dog on the exhalation. Very good. Inhale, lift your left leg up. And you're going to look up and place your foot on the outside, so the pinky side of your left hand. That's it. So your hands are just already naturally on the inside. So you can stay with your arms straight, or if you're electing to come into the lizard stretch, you can bring blocks underneath your elbows and bring your torso down a little bit. Just observe. So you're bringing the energy of your right ribs towards the spine or towards the midline. So there's a slight right oblique engagement here. And then the left outer hip is obviously doing quite a big job of containing and keeping the femur bone moving in underneath you. Last 3 breaths here. And now we're going to keep the exact same shape, but you're going to lower the back knee and release the back toes into a point position. And then just see if again you can feel that the internal part of your left spine is lengthening, right? So the vertebrae are not collapsing together on the left side. The right side is engaging enough so that there's a little separation in those side vertebrae. The transverse process is what those little things are called on the side of your vertebra. Last 2 breaths. And then you're going to return with your hands flat, arms straight. You can remove the blocks. They're in the way. And we're just going to turn your back foot on a diagonal behind you. Yeah, so we're just doing a modification of warrior two here. Lift with your right arm, shoulder when you're ready, and then you're gonna come all the way up like warrior two in your arms and torso. Yeah, so you're gonna feel that there's a big resistance here at the back leg, inner thigh. Okay, keep that as much as you can. Feel that the left hip draws underneath you, good. Rotate the left arm in an external rotation, and then with your right fingertips, really lightly touch your right knee. You're gonna start to go into this sideways stretch. So again, it's this lateral flexion. The more you can release your left hip down, the more the spine has something to jump up out of. Last two. Try to feel your left obliques engage a little extra. That's gonna bring you back up, and you're gonna transition your hand to the inner foot. External rotation with the right shoulder, and then take your right arm overhead and stretch. So it's this feeling that you're turning your spine over the left thigh. So you're rotating your navel, your belly, your sternum open towards the ceiling to the best of your ability. Last three. Is that okay? Two. And release slowly, hand down. You're gonna straighten your back foot, taking a moment. Okay, and now you're going to try your best. So even if you're not doing the arm bends, don't worry, you can still work with just the hip opening. The shoulder is gonna start to come underneath the left knee, and you're tucking the left shoulder to the best of your ability in. And then if it's available to you, you're putting your hand on the outside of your left foot. So the elbows ideally are not gonna point out to the sides, they're gonna stay tracking with the center of your wrist joint. Tuck your right toes under if you feel ready for a little more. Lift your back thigh up if you're feeling ready. And then for those of you who do feel ready, see if you can lift your left foot up and bring your left heel towards your hip. Stay with straight arms or bend elbows, your choice, Kundanyasana. Keeping that right shoulder down away from your ears, step your right toes down. Lift your left leg into three-legged dog. Good, and then you're gonna come forward, keeping your foot hovering in a plank position. Stay in plank like this, or chaturanga, it's up to you. Push up as you inhale, and release to downward facing dog as you exhale. Good. So with your two heels, two hips reaching back, come forward, and you're gonna do a stretch in your hips for upward dog. So the heels, sacrum stay the same, the arms are gonna remain in like this handstand push. You're lifting your spine all the way up. Take a big inhale. Keep the upper back engaged. Lift from your pelvis, downward facing dog. And you're gonna walk your hands back to your feet now. Sliding your hands under your toes. Padahastasana, inhale, lengthen. And as you exhale, release spine, crown of the head all the way down. Okay, take a few moments here. Breathe. And inhale, lift your head, engage your spine, release your hands to downward facing dog. Keep the hips as far back and as lifted as you can, walking the hands away from your feet. Yeah, good. Good, you're gonna come into plank. And then when you're ready, slowly and with control, all the way onto your tummy. Lie down, good. Okay. Point your toes away from you, reach your hands back by your hips. We're gonna do Shalambhasana. Okay, so first start just with lifting one leg and stretching it as far back as you can, keeping your hips on the ground. Set that foot down. Second side when you're ready. And releasing the foot down. So now the hips are the foundation. Pressing your feet away from you by stretching your legs back. See if you can keep your hips grounded on the floor and then lift your legs up as high as you can, especially the top part of your thighs. Then lifting from the vertebra between your ears, start to come up, engaging your spine into Shalambhasana. The sacrum actively releasing in the direction of the legs, the spine actively moving in the opposite direction. Last 2. Stay in this exact shape, just bend your elbows, place your hands like cobra. B position Shalabhasana. The elbows track evenly with the center of the wrist. Last 3. 2. And then as you reach your legs back, crown of the head goes forward and come all the way down. Very good. Okay, now you're gonna reach your hands back again. Bend your knees and reach tops of the feet for Dhanurasana. So same exact feeling. Your pelvis is the foundation, and that goes down as your thighs start to rise. Continue releasing your sacrum away from your lower back, and when you're ready, lift the vertebra in between your ears. Feel your spine engage, and the more you can release your hips back away from your lumbar, the more the lumbar can go forward. That's it. So it's really about creating a back, forward, 2 directions of movement evenly. Last 3, 2, and then release all the way down. You can turn your head to one side and let your body just absorb the activity for a few breaths. Stillness. And see if you can move a big sideways breath into your bottom side ribs. And clear out the energy as you exhale. One more like that, big sideways lateral breath. And exhale. So we're going to do Dhanurasana one more time. Turn your forehead towards the yoga mat. Bend your knees, hold the tops of your feet, spread your toes around your pinky fingers. And as you press the pelvis down, the legs go in the opposite direction up towards the ceiling. Then when you're ready, add the vertebra between your ears and feel that the more you release your sacrum back, the more the lumbar is going to be able to engage, meaning it goes forward. So you go in 2 directions, starting at your sacrum where it meets the lumbar. Last 3. It's just about length. It's not really about height, this pose. Bring your ears back just a teeny tiny amount and then release, turn your head the other way, take a couple breaths, let your arms, legs be in this relaxed position. Breathe. And then when you're ready, you're going to come to your forehead and press into child's pose, bringing your hips back to rest on your heels. And again, just put your arms, shoulders in a position that's comfortable. Okay, this is a counter posture. We're bringing in dopamine, whereas back bends are adrenaline. So we move in energetically, chemically, 2 directions simultaneously to create neutral. And then when you're ready, you're going to come up and you're going to sit on your heels. So if you do have blocks, this will be a little bit easier. If you don't have blocks, just put your hands by your side thighs. And we're going to do now an active abdominal lift to counter the back bend. So you're going to put your hands on the blocks. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Okay, to the best of your ability, keep your elbows tracking with the center of your wrists. Okay, and then when you're ready, push into your hands and try to lift your knees. Even if your feet stay on the ground, it doesn't matter really. Just use your abdominals to actively lift your knees towards your chest for 3, 2, relax for a breath, sit on your heels. Just stay open. So if it's possible with this next round, you're going to lift up the same way you did before, cross your ankles, and you're going to try to skillfully bring your feet through into a seated position. So when you're ready, keep the shoulders relaxed to the best of your ability. Lift your knees, collect your abdominals, cross your ankles, and try to bring your feet through the blocks to a seated position. Very nice. And then you can just set the blocks off to the side. Okay, so now we're going to go into Parivrita, which means revolved, Janu Shirshasana. So you're going to bring your right knee way back, way more back than you do until you're opening towards the right side of your mat. And just bring the knee back as far as you can. So we all have a different range of inner thigh mobility. Just do your best. Yeah, very good. Okay, and now you're going to put your hands on either side of your bent knee. Okay, and you're just going to try to sit up really nice and tall. Yeah. Yeah, so these two go away from each other. And you're just trying to sit up tall and turn. As you exhale, notice how the navel can rotate around towards your right knee. So to the best of your ability, keep your chest facing the right knee, and with your left hand, you're just going to blindly reach towards your left ankle, or if you can, eventually to the big toe. Yeah, there you go, that's it. Now, and if you can, do it so that your hand faces this direction. Okay, now when you bend your elbow, if you're starting to bend your elbow, you're pointing your elbow towards the right side of the mat, not towards the left side of the mat. So as you start to bend your elbow, eventually you're going to be able to bring your elbow to the inside of your left leg. And you're using your arm against your leg to help you turn a little bit more. Yeah. So let's do first an internal rotation. So extend your right arm out. Internal rotation, bring your arm around behind you. If you can tuck your fingers into the top of your left thigh. And now release your right arm, external rotation in the shoulder, and feel the difference, taking your arm overhead when you're ready. Exactly, so the arm turns. Yeah, that way, there you go. Last 3, 2. Now you're going to look towards your left foot, and with your right hand now reach and hold your left ankle on the inside. Bring your left hand on the outside, and we're going to do a variation of Janu Shirshasana A, turning the navel towards the left leg, and then just folding over to the best of your ability. Now in this pose, you're trying to keep your right obliques engaged. And I know that this is extremely difficult, but if possible, take your breath to the left side of the waist, so to the straight leg side, you're breathing a little bit more. And you're using that to turn your internal navel. So it's like you're turning the right side of your navel towards the left hip point, or the right side of your chest even towards your left hip point. Last 3. Great. 2. Start by lifting the vertebrae between your ears. And then when you're ready, come all the way up. Okay, extend your right leg. And then when you're ready, you're going to bring the left leg as far back as you can. Now for all of us, we have a different right-left scenario. Just observe it without being too judgmental of your body. You're going to take your fingertips to either side of the left knee. That's right. And you're just trying to sit up tall here for the first couple breaths. You're sitting up tall and you're turning your belly towards the left knee to the left side just in the beginning. Okay, now without even turning your head, you're just going to blindly feel with your hand your right ankle or your right big toe. And then when you get there, you're trying to point your elbow towards the left side of your mat this time. So if you were to bend at all, it would land on the inside of your leg. Okay, and then with the left arm, you're going to reach back and you're going to do internal rotation. And if you can, bring your hand around. Yeah. Good. That's it. And then reach through the left arm, external rotation, and go overhead. Yeah, that's it. Yes, super, like that. Now look towards your right foot. With your left hand, you're going to hold the inside of your ankle, right hand on the outside. Take a big breath in, and then turn your navel as far as you can towards the right thigh. And feel there is a slight left waist contraction. So yeah, bring that in. And breathe more into the right side of the waist if it's possible. So it's not that you're taking the right shoulder closer to the ear, and I know that that can feel confusing sometimes, but to keep the shoulder relaxed and to actually move energetically more into the right side. And it's going to feel like the right and left side of your navel are both trying to come towards the top of the right thigh. There you go. One more breath. And then when you're ready, lift the vertebra first between your ears up, engage your upper spine, and then when you're ready, come up. And we're going to do Dandasana, so you can take your legs straight forward with your feet flexed. There you go. Yeah, so if you have long arms like Chris, you have to bend your elbows a little bit. Yeah, otherwise the shoulders will just be too crowded. And it's not about having the arms straight, it's about having the spine elongated. So let your shoulders do less activity, and that will inform your spine about how to do a little bit more. Good, and now when you're ready, you're gonna take your arms parallel to the ground, externally rotate as much as you can in your shoulders first, and then bring your arms up, up, up over your head. So to the best of your ability, lift your spine up, and then start to go forward. So before you go down, go as far forward as your body can, and then eventually you start to come down into the fold. So it's this feeling of the vertebrae starting from the lower back, pushing you over the top of your legs towards your feet. And eventually you can imagine the crown of your head touching your big toenails. One more breath. Lift your gaze first, and then when you're ready, reach your arms forward and come all the way up. Good job. And now you're going to release and lie down on your back. We're going to do supported bridge pose. So if you have a block at home, grab your block as you lie down. Take your feet parallel and your hips onto yoga block. And just make sure it's in the center of your sacrum, helping your tailbone to elongate away from the lumbar. And the chest is just going to do a passive relaxed position, so you don't have to do anything here. Mostly this is just helping to release the flexion of what we did in Paschimottanasana. Try to continue with just natural smooth breathing without creating any tensions in your jaw, in your lungs. And then when you're ready, lift your hips up a little bit and release all the way down. You're going to bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a little squeeze, a little hug. And now you're going to take your hands on either side of your hips. So for those of you at home, if you're not practicing shoulder stand, you can just take your legs to a wall and do Viparita Karani, legs up the wall. Okay. Or if you can, with your hands pressing into the ground here, you're going to bring your legs into a vertical position. Okay. Keep as much as you can, a little space between your chin and your chest, and you're gonna bring your legs and hips up into a vertical position and place your hands onto your spine on either side of your spine. And yeah, there is just always a mini space between your chin and your sternum. It never actually will touch. And when you have that little bit of a space, what will be evident is that your cervical spine, so the spine of your neck, is not going to be compressing against the floor. So ideally, I would be able to come over and just put my fingers underneath your spine. And that's how we know that your spine, your neck, is active, right? We don't want to do this on a passive neck. So that's why I choose not to use blankets, because the blankets render your neck passive, which means you overstretch the ligaments that hold your vertebra together. So eventually what you would do is you would just create a flat neck. When you flatten the neck out, it makes your upper back more rounded and kyphotic. So by maintaining the natural curve in your neck, you're actually going to be able to maintain more engagement in your upper back over time, and you won't end up being a hunchback. Unless you want to. Good. Take a big inhale, push your legs a little higher. And then just try taking one leg into halasana. The opposite leg has to be a little bit more active. And maybe this will allow you to walk your hands. Try going a little closer. Okay, and then keeping that and taking your leg up, reaching your legs up, and then switching when you're ready, taking your other leg. So it's like a half halasana, half shoulder stand. And again, you're working your hands down a little bit if you can. Good. Both legs up, big inhale. And now lower both feet if you can into halasana, or if you don't have full halasana, you can always just take your feet onto blocks or a couch, chair. You can cross your fingers, and you can use the arms pressing into the ground to help you keep that little bit of a lift in the upper part of your back. So you're working your upper back, you're working your neck, and this is why many people don't really love this asana, because it's forcing you to work in the areas that like to be a little bit more relaxed. And when you're ready, bend your knees around your ears. This is called Karna Pindasana. Karna is the ear. Pinda means to squeeze. Good. And then you're going to take your hands to the yoga mat, and you're going to use your hands to very slowly roll onto your back. So keep your ears moving back into the mat to the best of your ability, so your head won't lift off the ground, and you're going to do it really with control. Very good. And we're coming into the counter posture, which is Matsyasana, fish pose. So when you're ready, extend your legs. Press into your forearms, elbows, and you're going to come up in an arched position in your upper spine. And if it's okay, you can put your head resting on the crown. And then you want to first lift your head like at least 1 centimeter and then come all the way out. And again, hug your knees into your chest. Okay, so here, put your left foot flat, cross your right ankle over your left. Okay, and you could start here. So I think for a lot of us, really the main thing to focus on, and you can use your right fingertips very gently, is just to take the right knee gently away from the right shoulder. So this is a great place to stay if you feel that this is targeting enough of a stretch in external rotation in your right hip. If you want a little bit more, try taking your hand away, maintaining what you had, and then holding the back of your left thigh, bringing that in. Please feel free to stay here. We're going to progress a little bit more here, Chris and I. So you're going to take your left hand and hold the outside of your right foot. Take your right hand and hold your right ankle. Okay, and then place your left foot on the ground. Okay, still the knee is turning away from the right shoulder to the best of your ability. Okay, and on your next exhale, you're going to use your abdominals to bring your heel and your forehead, third eye together. Okay, but keep trying to turn the knee, away from you. That's it. Now keep the heel there and gently bring the head to the mat and take a couple more breaths. And then release your right foot to the earth. Cross your left ankle over right. And take a couple breaths there. You can just assess or observe the amount of external rotation you have just with the gentle assistance of your left hand. Many of you at home will feel like that is plenty and you've reached your edge. Please observe and stay. Okay, if you can maintain what you did with your hand without your hand assisting, now hold the back of your right leg and bring your leg towards you. Right, exactly. So the knee still has that little away from shoulder energy. Please at home stay here if you've reached your edge. Otherwise, with your right hand, hold your left heel. And then with your left hand, hold your outer ankle. And then you can put your right foot on the ground. Take a big breath in, keeping the knee away from the left shoulder. Use your abdominals and try to bring your heel to touch your forehead. Just breathe. Now try to keep your leg there and release your head and breathe here. And when you're ready, release your left foot to the floor, to the mat. You're going to cross your right knee on top of your left knee. And you're going to lift and shift both hips over to the right side, to the right edge of the mat. Okay, and then bring your knees towards your left armpit and twist. So you can open up the right arm as like a straight arm or as a cactus arm, your choice. And breathe. Do your best to relax any tension you feel accumulating near your shoulders, your upper traps. Let this movement be from the spine, not from the shoulders pushing the spine. And then when you're ready, you're going to bring yourself to the center and uncross your legs, and you're going to move your hips to the center position to start. Then when you're ready, the left knee crosses. You lift a little bit and swing your hips over to the left edge of the mat, and then your knees all the way to your right armpit. Open up through your left shoulder arm. You can turn your gaze. And just think about that feeling of just breathing and creating space. So you're not actually feeling the skin become tense. So there is something with activating muscles, but muscular activation and tension are not the same thing. Try to feel the activity without tension. You're going to come out slowly, bringing your hips back into the center position of the mat, bringing them in line with your shoulders, and you're going to give your knees one more hug, and we're going to give you this last little stretch before we take you to Shavasana. And when you're ready, you can set up any little props that you need for Shavasana. Some of us are benefited by having something under the head. I particularly like propping the thighs up a little bit higher than the hips to give the hips that natural feeling of release, and that will give your low back the ability to stay relaxed. Any position with your arms, hands, just feel in your body what you need. And then when you do find that physical point where you can relax and be settled, open your mouth and let go of controlled breathing. And just choose to allow this layla or absorption to occur naturally through the stillness of Shavasana. Coming back to just a few breaths, maybe wiggling your toes and fingers to subtly bring your awareness back to the physical. You can bend your knees, placing your feet either on top of that cushion or flat on your yoga mat. And then take a moment, if you desire, arms stretch in any direction that feels good. Use that to help bring space into your spine. And then when you're ready, knees come to chest, and you give yourself a little bit of a squeeze. Roll over to one side, taking a moment there, or more moments if necessary. Anytime you feel ready, use your top hand to push into the earth, come up and seated pose of your choice. So whatever you choose to pause here in, just close your eyes, hands in Anjali Mudra. Bringing your forehead to a slightly bowed position. Gazing into the heart center. Bringing your chin up to a parallel position, opening your eyes. Namaste.